Okay, hidden over here behind a couple boards here and there, I have some cherry slices, like half slices from when I was doing bowl turning. But I've got some big cherry burls hiding in here. There's a big, I'm not sure which one I'm going to do, but I think I'm leaning towards doing that one. Then I've got another one hidden over here. So believe it or not, there was like 4 burls that came off of one cherry tree. So I think it's time to go ahead and cut into them. Let's see what I can make out of them. I think they've been over here long enough. I think that's our prize right there. Check that one out. That's super sweet. I think I can put it between these logs. That'll hold it. Now the tricky part is to decide what's the best slice, because you could get in there and it not be that great a shape. I think keeping this, cutting right through here, is probably going to be the most promising pieces. It's just hard to say. If you're trying to look at it, you got to visualize that's going to be cut off. So my first cut's going to be right through the heart. I'm just going to go ahead and cut right through the heart. That'll give me a flat spot. And if I have to, I'll take it to the sawmill and finish cutting it there. That should work. Before I cut it all the way through, I'm going to go ahead and make another slice on one side and the other side while it's holding it still. Hopefully that'll work. Let me show you what I got going on. It's just easier while it's still together. All I gotta do is make up some finish up cuts and we'll go from there. Interesting. Interesting. They're going to have to be cleaned up and flattened to really see the goodness inside. The chainsaw tends to leave them a little rough, but a lot of cool pieces to work with. That one somebody might want to turn on a bowl lathe. I'm not really sure. I'll clean it up and probably just end up cutting it off here, keeping that section right there. Interesting. Not quite as interesting as I thought though, but a lot of times you can't see it very good until you get it flattened or run through a planer. We'll see. We will see. Next step, go get it cleaned up. All right, I didn't get it off too bad, but if you didn't have a slab flattening jig and you're just kind of getting started and you want to have fun on a project like this, a lot of people have chainsaws. You can pick up one of these hand power planers, pretty reasonable, and just go through and measure. You can use a square, a 2-foot square or level to check it as you go along. So I'm going to work on, this is a little fat right over here, so I'm going to work on getting that down, and then we'll take another measurement, run a couple straight edges across it, and see what we see where we're at. Nice burl sections on each side. Now I'm going to be using this forced air respirator because I cannot breathe when it's really humid. I have lung issues, and well, I still like doing what I'm doing, so this is the only way that I can sit outside when it's humid and function and continue to do this. So make sure you always wear a mask or protection from your wood. It can be very bad chemicals in it, cause long-term damage. Alright, let's see what we can get done here on this side, and then we'll move over to the other side. It's a slow process, but you can get it done. Slowly work. I work off the edge. On the cherry, it kind of likes it if you kind of go across the grain a little better, especially when it's hard burl material right here. But it's starting to shape up fairly decent. I spun it around. Get this face blower off. I need some more forced air, but it's getting there. We'll go grab a straight edge and we'll see where we're at. Right, let's put this level on. I think it's a little high in the middle. Yeah, it's a little high right here in the middle. It's really good right there. It's really kind of right here is a slight hump. So we'll work this down. We'll work this little section right here down, and we'll see how close we can get. Then I'm going to back this off a little bit. almost perfect. Really sweet. So you can do this yourself at home. Alright, I'm going to take my mask off so I can talk and show you kind of what I'm doing. So, that nice straight line right there helps you to get a straight line, but it's only over a short area. So like I'm putting this across here, and that's going across the whole length. So I've got a little bit of a hump right here, and I probably should, if I had readily available, let me go grab a pen real quick, or a pencil. Raise you guys up a little bit, maybe it'll make it easier to see. So I can see from about right here, and draw a line across, and about right in here, and right over here, that's flat. So I draw a line there, and I've still got, I do light lines here, and as I got to get more off, I may do darker lines over here, so that I know this is lightly got to come off, and this side is a little heavier to remove the material. So I turn this down to where I'm only taking off a little bit, but I'm going to do 2 turns. And when you come in, you can come in with it up in the air, and then come down, and then lift up on the rear end of it as you come out. So it'll start taking some in here. As you come across here, just lift up lightly on it, and that will help you to feather it in. Turn it down a little bit. There. And you can kind of work your lines out as you go. Let's see if it did. Let's see if I did a good job or not. Yeah, look at that. It's almost completely flat. Completely flat there. A little teeny bit right here, but you can see how much harder that is. So we'll take a little bit more off of there. So I'll kind of mark it, just kind of so I know. And it's suspected because that's a burl. It's going to be a lot more dense there. So you're going to have to work at it a little bit more. Lightly lifted on it. Here where the tone changes. Now some of it, like if I run my fingers, there's a little bit of a lip there. But an aggressive 60 grit, you can knock a lot of those out of the wood. There we go. Now we're super nice. Oh yeah. So that'll work for that side. So now, luckily I was pretty decent on the chainsaw. So the thicknesses on both sides are within a 1/4 inch. So this is just going to be a project slab with adjustable legs on it. So it's not any real big deal. It'll probably only be about an 1/8 inch off when I go to do it. So now let's grab the sander, see what happens with the sander. All right, I'm definitely putting on my air mask for this because all the dust particulates that come from the sanding. This is, in case you're interested, I got 60 grit on there, so that'll knock those lines out of there pretty darn quick. Air on. Old sweaty mask. But it's what you got to do to protect your lungs. So trust me, you need to do it. So I'm going to blow this off. Now there's a lot more work that's got to be done on this, but I just kind of wanted to show you that you can use a chainsaw if you're pretty good with, if you got a long bar and you line it up pretty good, take your time. It doesn't take a whole lot of work with a few basic tools to make you a really neat burl piece. I'm going to take and blow this off, and we're going to get some mineral spirits and we'll wipe it down so I can see all the sandy marks and you can see how pretty it is. Now it's always good in between your sanding and all to get it cleaned off with mineral spirits. It'll show you any imperfections or say swirl marks that you might not be able to see by eye, and it will dry just fine. It's not going to hurt anything, but it kind of gives you an idea and reveals what you're going to see after you get done putting the finished product on it as far as the finish goes. So that's nice. It's always nice to see where you're heading, where your work is going to get you. Didn't look like much, did it? When I cut it with that chainsaw, you couldn't see any of the good stuff in there. And now you can start to see some of the burl. Now I will probably finish this with boiled linseed oil because, well, I'm kind of a naturalist and I like to do it that way. And that'll work really good for getting in all these little spots here. I'm not worried about finishing it with an epoxy and making a perfectly smooth top. I don't mind the little holes in it. I'll clean them out and that will be what it is. Now I get to do the other side, but it's not that far off. The other side's a little bit better. We'll wipe this down. I cut up one of the cherry burls because I've been wanting to get to them. I definitely have to make sure I use a respirator, but it's what I enjoy. So laying around the house don't do me any good. Worrying about what I can't control. But still need a lot of cleanup. But using the hand plane, which is sitting right over there on the bench, making sure I have my respirator on, that sander right there. I have another piece here I cut as well. Alright, my finish of choice is boiled linseed oil, especially with like got little spots like this. Stuff soaks in the wood really good, and I just use one of these sponge type finishers. Now I'll go back over this with a couple coats. I just like to let it get in all these little cracks, seal that wood up good. Now I know some people would probably put epoxy on it because they got to have a perfectly smooth top. I don't know, I just like it being as natural as can be. It's not no major holes in it, just little ones. Nothing that will cause any issues. But that's why I like using these, because you can kind of act like a sponge. You can just put that in there. Now along the sides where the bark is, I'll use a shellac to get up in there really good and seal that up. I can use it, I can paint it on, or I can use a spray. I usually paint it on a couple times and finish it up with a spray at the end. That'll get up in there really good. Lock everything together. Keep it beautiful for many, 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 many years. Yeah, just so pretty. That's why I say I like using the sponge and kind of press it in there. Get it all up in the nooks and crannies. Some more up here. I'll bring you in a little bit closer. Looks like there's a little bit of a shadow on it right now. This is a great spot for finishing stuff. It's shady, but not the best place for filming because you get shaded. It gets a bit shady and leaves like shades and colors across your work. So if this stuff has really punky stuff that I can't get off of there and get cleaned up to where I'm happy, I use a wood hardener and soak it down a couple times with a wood hardener. Let that dry real good, and then you can finish over that. It's fully finishable. Minwax makes a nice wood hardener. And I just like to get that all worked up in there. Good old classic finish. Boiled linseed oil. Works really, really good because it gets up in all the pores and everything. Look at that. Looked kind of ugly when I first did it with a chainsaw, huh? A little bit of tender love and care, sanding and getting it prepared. Look how pretty it is. So pretty. Like I said, still got work to do on the sides. I did put the linseed oil on the bottom, but I've got it up on stickers. Won't affect anything, be just fine. Alright, it's enough playing around with that. Let's see if we can get a good picture of it, a good video of it, with it not being in too much of the shadows. Kind of hard, but you can see those curls and the waves in there and some of the burl, especially on this side right here. Really nice there. Now I'm not looking at the camera. I've got it face down so I can't see what you see. Well, I can see it. I can't see that you're seeing it. But this side will all be soaked down with shellac. But yeah, this will be a pretty piece, that is for sure. Pretty piece. So give me a big thumbs up, subscribe, and give me a big old like. Let me know if you like this type of stuff.